Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet Brittany Black. She is the Democratic nominee for Texas House District 61. She's going to talk about why she threw her hat into the ring. Next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I admire anyone who runs for elected office because oftentimes it's a thankless job. You get phone calls late at night and you have constituents who are complaining about potholes. So Brittany Black is in the studio right now. She's the Democratic nominee for Texas House District 61. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so why did you decide to run?
So I'm a software engineer by trade, and I'm also a small business owner. And I just, like most of us normal people living out here, notice that the political system is not working for us and it feels broken, and the laws were not written in our benefit. They seem to benefit corporations and billionaires and then not the working people like myself and my family. And the Texas that I was born in is not the current Texas that I'm living in. And I just feel like these struggles are not okay, and we need people who actually want to listen to us and care about our stories and want to do the right thing.
Well, you were telling me a story before we started rolling about a healthcare situation
Right. So the tipping point for me for actually deciding to get into the state legislature, I went last year without health insurance. I actually still don't have health insurance. And even as I work full-time and a business owner, this can affect anybody. So I'm not your typical person who doesn't have health insurance. And I went through a complicated pregnancy where my medical struggles, I wasn't able to find health care in the state, somebody who would treat me. And that's because of the laws. The laws of this state are so strict that even someone like myself, who was losing a child, losing, it would have been my firstborn, I couldn't even get treatment in the state. And then after that happened, I thought about so many other women who were going through that struggle or couldn't leave the state for health care, couldn't afford the care that I eventually got and what they're going through. And then talked to other women too who had to go into a coma before they could get treatment. And there's just so many stories like that. And no one's listening to us. No one cares about these struggles. They only care about this restricted abortion ban. And they don't think about the complications it causes just normal women and who are trying to get pregnant and live. We want families. We want just a normal, healthy child. And even when we go through struggles like I did, we can't even get health care in this state.
All right, we're going to pull up your website. And as we scroll on the website, I want you to talk about some other the issues that are on your platform.
Sure.
What are some of the things you're most passionate about?
So I'm definitely passionate about fully funding public schools. I'm a product of public schools. And my grandmother was a school teacher. My father actually taught school for a while. I volunteered and mentored at a school. And those are our children of the future. Every time the vouchers are taking the funds out of our public schools and putting them to private schools, our kids and our future generations lose. So that's something I'm really passionate about. We need to raise the allotment. We need to actually give teachers a working salary that they can have a living wage. And we need to appreciate these public schools that actually take children of all of us. So the private schools only cater to certain demographics of children, whereas the public schools welcome everybody, and also special needs children can get everything they need. So this is really important for public schools. Another thing I'm passionate about is that that we don't lose our homes because we live in a popular neighborhood now. So appraisals are not fully transparent. And although we are having growth right now that is to the nth degree, we are still paying the highest taxes we've ever paid. and we're getting priced out of our own homes with taxes. And we're not seeing any of that money come back into our communities. And there's no transparency or accountability for that either.
We're going to show a graphic on the screen because your district is a big district.
Yes.
Okay, describe where it goes.
So it looks like this.
Yep.
It's most of McKinney. It's about 80% of McKinney. And then about the other 20% is mainly like a downtown and the most eastern part of McKinney, out east of 75. And then I have about 1/3 of Frisco, which is the northeast corner of Frisco, and then basically up. So the eastern parts of Prosper and Salina, the western parts of Melissa and Anna, and then everything in between, which mostly is a lot of land, if we're honest, but there's still Weston. And then for some reason, I have 3 people in Van Alstyne. So if someone could explain to me how that happened, but.
Well, this is your first time ever running for anything.
Yes.
And how are you planning to campaign? Is it, are you going to different community groups? How are you campaigning?
Yeah, I plan on doing everything it takes, but my main focus is actually talking to the people and understanding what they need, because I feel like that's the most important thing. So not only am I, and being informative, I think that's just something we lack between accountability and actually listening. So I want to be someone who listens and delivers. The current incumbent has only possibly done one real bill, and I think it was to benefit her own business, and for the most part just signs on to whatever she's told. So I want to be someone who actually does something that benefits people and that people actually want me to do and that actually can get it done. So I'm making sure I'm listening in not only spaces that have probably voted and been heard, but everyone that's overlooked as well. I'm also hosting events. Like I have an event Wednesday, is that tomorrow? I have an event tomorrow about property taxes and appraisals and business development and how that affects you, and inviting the community to come in, ask questions, and we have 3 great speakers. So I want to be someone who informs the community, win or lose. I want us to be more informed as a community. And I'm also, out there knocking doors, making phone calls. I always make myself available. I answer a lot of comments on social media. And I think it's just important to have these conversations. I think we've gotten to a point where we don't want to talk to each other. We're stuck in our own ways. And I just don't think we move forward in that space. So I'm willing to talk to anybody. I get all the comments. Mostly bad sometimes, but I think that's just the day and age we live in. But I'm always open to talk to anyone, whether we think we agree or don't, because I think it's just most important to have these open kind of conversations so we can all move forward as a community, as a culture, and we can get over these differences that we think divide us, because it's not really the left and the right dividing us, it's the top versus the bottom, and we have to move forward.
Well, you were telling me something before the show that it could be a very, very tight race, because although, Collin County is kind of seen as Republican, it's much closer than that.
Right. So the demographics have definitely been shifting, and that's a large in part due to growth. So it's barely a minority minor district. So I think that the demographics are around, 53, 47 at this point. But more importantly, I think people are just more open to not just picking a partisan side as well. So I'm trying to be a candidate of choice, not just a partisan pick. I want people to vote with their heart and really choose to believe in me, because I'm going to do what's always right, no matter where that falls in the partisan scale. And I'm going to do what I think the people would prefer. And that's what I'm truly striving for, is to not just be, this left versus right pick or this demographic shift pick. I want to be the people's choice, because they know that I'm always going to stand 10 toes on what's right and what should be done.
She makes a lot of content. I found one video that I really like. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Hey y'all, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who showed up for our communities this weekend and, the past month or so, the candidates who put their names forward, who, put all their lives on the line, and the volunteers who knocked doors, made phone calls, and helped out the candidates, staff who kept the campaigns moving, helped bring bond packages, city priorities, school issues, and local decisions in front of voters. Local democracy works because people care enough to participate. We need everybody to get this right. So whether you won, you lost, you volunteered, organized, simply helped your neighbors understand what was on the ballot and what matters and what we need for our communities, I'm so grateful for everyone stepping up to serve, and I look so forward to continuing the work of building stronger, safer, and more connected communities together. It takes all of us. Brittany Black for Texas House District 61. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right. So we have about 2 minutes left. So look into the camera on the left and make your plea to the voter.
Okay. So I think everyone can really agree that this is not the same Texas that a lot of us would love and that we want to fight for. So when we think about freedom in Texas, that's what we should be striving for. Freedom in our education system, freedom in how we live, freedom in making our own choices for our own bodies and in our lives. And I don't think that's what we're living with today. And I don't think that we are better off than we were, let's say, 5-10 years ago. So when you think about that, I want you to think about, I am fighting for what I think our true vision of Texas is. I want us to be able to send our future children and our current children to whatever school that they want to go to. That's real school choice, is having schools in our neighborhoods, in our communities that we can choose and send our children to. Freedom to not lose our homes just because we're getting priced out of them and because taxes are so high and it's not coming back in our community. Freedom to decide what we can do with our own bodies and our health care, and not having the government control what we can do with our doctors. That should be our decision. That is the Texas that I was born and I grew up in, and that's the Texas that I envision that I'm trying to fight hard to get back.
Brittany, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. We're going to end with her website, which is brittanyfortexas.com. Brittany Black, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.